Hawker's European Talent Cup action really is where the big stars of the future start their path. And on the road to MotoGP, the final round of their season comes from the Circuit Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia. 4 kilometres in length with 14 turns and a long straight of just short of 900 metres. Hawker's European Talent Cup action is always interesting. It's always a fight at the front, and with a title on the line this weekend between Guido Pini and Joel Esteban, who knows what may well happen this weekend. A wonderful display in the paddock here in Valencia. 25 years creating and celebrating with stars of the future. Champions with names such as Casey Stoner, Fabio Quartararo, Pecco Bagnaia, Jorge Lorenzo, Dani Pedrosa, and plenty more. It's a massive talent pool, and that is what they go on to become. This is where the path starts. Hawker's European Talent Cup is not the bottom class in this paddock. It's where the talent is given that opportunity. It's where it's a proving ground for your future and your pathway up through the ranks of motorcycle racing. The final round of the season here in the company of myself, Kiko Giles, and alongside me, Steve English. We've had a belting Junior GP. Race 1, Steve, what can we expect here? The title will be decided in this race.
Yeah, more of the same in ETC, you'd imagine, and certainly it is a championship to be decided. Pini versus Esteban, worth keeping an eye on.
This is what happened last time out at Motorland Aragon. A double billing for these guys. And that was at the end of that for Dodo Boggio. Boggio had a title chance coming into that weekend. This was a nasty accident for Evan Belford and Casmer Daniel. That brought out the red flag. Whilst at the front, Max Martinez versus Guido Pini was the call of the day. Pini with a first win of his season. As the emotions flowed, they'd barely settled down for race 2 later on in the day. And yet again, it was Max Martinez who was leading the way, the outgoing champion of the class. However, on the last lap, it was Casey O'Gorman of Ireland who came storming through, and the number 67 took a first victory. And he goes from a first pole this weekend too. Casey O'Gorman is in form, and whilst we're on that subject, Steve, pole position in this class, we spoke with Michael Laverty yesterday. O'Gorman had set that fast time in the first qualifying session. Laverty himself wasn't even sure if he needed to go out in qualifying 2. Such was the pace of Casey yesterday. Indeed, of course, he did go out in the second session. But O'Gorman in a sweet spot right now. Yeah,
first pole for O'Gorman, half a second underneath the lap record. It's pretty impressive stuff, really. And certainly for O'Gorman, the expectation is you'll see him on a Junior GP bike next season. He's got a lot of talent. He's been looked after, whether it's by MLav or in the past by Shaky Byrne as well. So he's got a lot of experience he's able to call upon. And he looks really good. We've seen it all the way through this season, especially in the Red Bull Rookies Cup. He's been very competitive.
This is what happened in qualifying then. Let's hear from Casey O'Gorman.
In qualifying 1, I make one very fast lap, and I think that this is good enough for the pole. So in the second session, I wait a little bit to watch the other riders to see how they go, and then towards the end I go out and I go fast again. Well, tomorrow I hope to have a good start in the final race. I want to end the season well. I think maybe it's possible to break away because quite far to second position. So tomorrow I hope to win.
A 41.291 took Casey O'Gorman to pole and well under the lap record. And get well soon, Eddie. That is in reference to Eddie O'Shea. Eddie O'Shea is in the paddock this weekend. He is watching on from trackside and his full focus on 2023. But about Casey O'Gorman, look at that upturn in form. Third, fourth, first, and a first pole of his career this weekend. Can he back up that win last time out?
Yeah, even earlier in the season, he was very strong in Estoril at the opening round of the year. He's been consistently at the front of the field in the ETC. Red Bull Rookies Cup as well, though he's been able to get himself into those lead groups as well. So he does look like a rider with a big future, certainly being brought forward by Michael Laverty and his Vision Track team. That's going to put him on the right path as well.
O'Gorman then going from pole position, the number 67 winner last time out, but all eyes are going to be on the next rider on this grid, Guido Pini, the number 93. He took that first win last time out, and here he is, the AC Racing Team Championship leader, and he's ready to go and get them. He's clawed back all the points, and with 1 win, 4 podiums as well, he is leading this championship, but it is by a small margin.
Yeah, you can see, though, it's pretty much been top 5 all the way through the season for Guido. He's been very competitive. He's also raced in the Italian Italian Moto 3 Championship this season as well, where he's been able to pick up a couple of race wins. But in ETC, it's all been about that consistency and building all the way through the campaign for him.
He was a first-time winner last time out, and that took him to 3 points clear of Joel Esteban in the standings. Esteban dominant earlier on in the season. They are the only 2 who can win it. There's only 1 race for the Hawkers European Talent Cup this weekend. So who will it be? This is Joel Esteban. He is 5th on the grid for today's race, 2nd in the championship, 2 points back. As we say, dominant winner, dominant rider earlier on in the season. 3 race wins, nothing since then though, just 3 podiums. And contrasting seasons. Lots of high peaks for Esteban, lots of solid consistency for Pini. Which one tends to come out on top after all of that? What's history telling us, Steve?
Oh, thanks for putting me on the spot like
no
that,
problem.
Kiko.
Anytime, there's a bus coming in a minute.
I think that the big thing for it is just who's going to keep the cool head. And certainly what we've seen through the course of this weekend so far is we're going to have a lot of riders at the front of the field. So it is going to be about making sure that you're able to keep yourself in those podium spots. If you finish on the podium for one of the 2 title contenders, they're going to win this championship in all likelihood. Absolutely.
In short, if it's top 3, whoever beats the other one takes the title. It is as simple as that. Number 47, just saw him on your screens there, Dodo Boggio, said it back at Jerez, but what a name. Aspar Junior Team, 15-year-old, his teammate is up for the title, but his compatriot is as well in a different team. So it'll be interesting to see what Boggio's role will be. I imagine team orders will be taking precedent over there. He was a non-starter at Portimao and Aragon from pole in race 2, following his race 1 crash. Brian Uriarte heading up the 2nd row of the grid, 5th in the championship, 2 wins this season, but another rider who has had some big inconsistencies.
Yeah, he's been on form though lately, 3 top 5s in a row, and he's a very fast rider. Indeed, last year here in Valencia, this is where he really came to the fore with a podium, so expect to see Uriarte able to run at the front, but if he's going to be able to take a race victory, it's probably not going to be a match for what we saw earlier in the season from him. Barcelona in particular, he was really impressive.
Charlie Nesbitt there, just alongside this young man. This is number 57, Johnny Garnes. He's only 14, and he has dominated the 2022 British Talent Cup. He's come in here with a top 10, a best of 8th place at Portimao, and for the first time, top 10 on the grid too.
Yeah, Johnny's been pretty impressive all the way through this season. Obviously in the British Talent Cup he's been the rider to beat, but he's actually made the jump into ETC to be pretty competitive as well, and that shows well. Next season is the big step for him though, obviously.
27, Rico Salmela, the Team Australia Galicia rider from Finland, again 14 years old, aiming to become the first Finnish winner in ETC, and he's had 2 podiums this year, one of which is here at Valencia.
Yeah, and we saw there he was inside the top 5 both races in Valencia earlier this season, so we know Rico's going to be pretty competitive all the way through.
We have got a pole sitter in Casey O'Gorman. He won last time out. Can he convert it? We are just moments away from lights out and the decider in this Hawkers European Talent Cup of 2022. Who will it be? Guido Pini goes from the middle of the front row. Joel Esteban goes from the middle of the 2nd row. Casey O'Gorman from a career first pole looking to back up a win that he first achieved last time out in Aragon. Kiko Giles and Steve English bringing you this title deciding action in the Hawkers European Talent Cup. It is always one of the best classes, one of the highlights of this paddock, and we have got a showdown in prospect here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo in Valencia. It's cloudy here, it isn't baking hot, it isn't sunny like it was yesterday, but it's dry. So we should get a traditional pack race at the front of the field. Who is it going to be, Steve, who comes out on top at the end of this race?
I have to say, Kiko, for me, one of the big things is the ETC. We always talk about the JuniorGP paddock as being where the stars tomorrow come from. It's this class where they really come from. When you look at over the last 6 years, we've had so many stars have made their name in ETC. Manuel Gonzalez was the first champion in the class. He's gone on to be a world champion in 300s. He's a Moto2 regular, been very competitive there as well this season. You look at Xavi Artigas, Izan Guevara's just after being crowned a Moto3 world champion. David Alonso is a Red Bull Rookies Cup champion, and he's going to be in the Moto3 World Championship next season. And then last year's winner, Max Martinez. Keep an eye out for Martinez. He's on the number 28. He's starting 27th on the grid. He should have been on the front row of the grid, so he's a rider that's going to come through the pack, you'd imagine. But as it comes down to it, it is all about who's going to be the ETC winner this season. And only 3 points separating Guido Pini on that number 93 machine. He's going to start on the front row of the grid. And then also our second in the championship standings, Joel Esteban, the number 78 machine. 3 points behind, 3 spots behind on the grid as well. So keep an eye out for Esteban from the second row of the grid to see what he's able to do. He was the form rider at the start of the campaign. Guido's been consistent all the way through the season. I tell you what, if Guido wants to pick his moment to have his best race of the year, now's the time for it, and win this championship in style. So the number 93, definitely easy to find on track with that black and aluminous livery, but we're going to see if anyone's going to be able to take him in that lead group. But Pini, certainly, he's the rider that you'd imagine has that consistency to give him the confidence to be able to take the crown.
Just want to touch on a couple of things. We touched on that 7th row with Rico Salmela. He's joined by Ruche Moodley on the Finetwork Mir Racing team, and Jesus Rios, whose birthday it was yesterday, the 15-year-old now from Marbella. Further back, lots of riders to keep an eye on, particularly Gonzalo Perez, the number 25, starts 25th. Bad run of form at the moment, he'll want that to change. And the outgoing champion, Maximo Martinez, number 28, he starts 27th. He should have been on the front row, but was penalised for slow riding in all sectors. I just want to get a quick question across to you, Steve. Strategy in this race. Is there going to be one, or is it just go for broke from lights out?
I always love your optimism, Kiko, that in the ETC there's going to be a strategy. Your strategy stay at the front. This is everyone out there on identical machinery. It's up to the rider to make the difference. But it is also a case of, will we see a little bit of a split out there? Generally speaking, the top 10 stay really close to each other around here in Valencia, so you've got to make sure that you're able to convert a decent grid position and stay at the front. If you're the likes of Max Martinez further down the field, you've got to make a really good start from the back of the grid to try and put yourself in a position to be able to attack.
Final race of the Hawkers European Talent Cup season. It is a decider. 93 Pini leads by 3 points from 78 Joel Esteban, but the 67 of Casey Gorman goes to pole, and we are off and running for the final time. Great start. Guido Pini got an absolute launch there. He's going to be in contention all the way down to the first turn, but Casey Gorman versus the number 51 of Brian Uriarte. Gorman tried to sweep in. Uriarte momentarily leads. Gorman fights back. We've got riders running well out on the car park down there already, and Joel Esteban is already making his move up into second place. Joel Esteban, a race winner here. Oh, we got Crasher. That is the 24 who has gone down. That's Guillaume Plonk. So Plonk from the 4th row of the grid, I think, has gone down there at turn 2, but back at the front, Joel Esteban was through up into second place. That is a great start from him.
Yeah, Max Martinez with a good start as well. He's up there inside the top 10 or thereabouts. But it did look off the line that we might have had someone a little bit fast. It might have been Moodley from the 4th row of the grid, but we'll see if there's any notification on that. But maybe Moodley just timed it to perfection.
Great stop, great spot that, Steve. Very, very good there. I didn't see that at all. O'Gorman leading then at the front, the 67. Of course, a race winner last time out, ahead of Esteban. Uriarte, Pini in 4th at the moment. 5th place is Salmela. 6th place, just coming through. I think that was Rios on the inside. It was Rios, the birthday boy from yesterday, on the inside of Garnes. But Garnes is biting back. We've got yellow flags at turn 10. I'm not sure who that will be. We've got the bike being pushed away. The rider is on his feet. We can see that from the commentary position. So we'll catch up with who that is in a moment. at the front. What? The inside Salmela, dive bombing Pini. He could really do without that, could the 93 Italian. That is a real disaster. He's being pushed back here as Esteban tries to make his way to the front.
Yeah, it was Enzo Ballon that crashed out on the opening lap as well. But 17-lap race here in the European Talent Cup. This is a long race for these riders to try and stay at the front, but really good from Esteban, 78. The championship contender, trying to make sure he's in a position to be able to win this from the front.
Pini's going backwards here. Garnes has just come through. Johnny Garnes, this is fantastic. Up into 5th. I think he's just gone a bit wide though. Maybe back down to 6th, but Pini looking a bit shaky so far. Esteban is the one who's looking cool.
Yeah, look at Max Martinez, the number 28. Last year he was the ETC winner. He's already up. Don't trust that graphic at the bottom of the shot. I think he's up inside the top 10 already.
Unbelievable stuff from the 28. This is the last time you'll see it. A great spot. 2 long lap penalties for Rouchet Moodley. Brilliant spot, Steve. You got that absolutely nailed on. So Moodley, the number 21, Finetwork, Mia Racing Team, yellow helmet, 21. He's in the back of that group, just out of shot. He'll have a double long lap penalty. So he's got to serve that. I think the double long lap is within 5 laps of it being shown to him. So he'll get this lap and then 5 laps from the next one.
Yeah, we saw Joel Esteban just run out a little bit wide onto the back straight as well. If we've noticed it, the race director has noticed it as well, so we're obviously going to keep an eye on that as well. We know track limits, that could be what decides the ETC winner.
Yellow flags at turn 8 and turn 10. Not sure why that is. Can't see anything from our commentary position at the moment.
I wonder, is it Aguilar has gone down because he's dropped down the timing screens?
We'll keep an eye on it. We'll bring it to you when we can. But at the moment, all eyes on this title fight. I said Guido Pini was just looking a bit shaky when he was in the battles there on the first couple of laps. He's settled himself back down now. He's calmed himself in. He's got his head down, and now he's chasing them front 3 ahead of him. Joel Esteban on the 78, looking to try and take advantage of that slipstream. He does go through, but Esteban, he knows O'Gorman. O'Gorman with nothing to lose here. O'Gorman's not in this title fight. He is going for this race win as Pini moves through into 3rd. But as it stands, Esteban 2nd, Pini 3rd, does not give Pini the title. It goes the way of Esteban by a point if it stays like that. Martinez, fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, and don't forget that for Esteban, he has picked up those race wins at the start of the season as well, those first 3 races. So we know on a count back, he's got that advantage as well. Max Martinez there, the rider running out wide just as he makes the move on Johnny Garnes as well.
Pini through into 2nd. So, lap 3, Pini moves into 2nd. That does give him the title as it stands. Of course, we've got 15 laps to go. It's a long race, as you said at the top of this programme. Esteban's trying to fight straight back. He knows he has to. He knows he has to beat Pini. That's the bottom line. He cannot have Pini ahead of him at all. Otherwise, there is no title for the 78.
Yeah, this is where he needs to keep a cool head though, Joel Esteban. We've seen it whenever he's on form this season, he's really strong, but he's had those off weekends as well, whereas the number 93 of Pini's been really consistent all the way through the campaign. That's what he's built his championship challenge on.
78 versus 90 for 2nd is just allowing the 6-7 of O'Gorman to break away, dare I say, break away in a Hawkers European Talent Cup race. What am I on about? But it does give him that luxury of being able to take his own lines, let's say.
Well, the one thing is that at the front of the field, Casey O'Gorman doesn't have to care about the championship. He's in the scrap for 3rd in the standings, but certainly for O'Gorman and Max Martinez, there's 11 points between them. That's not their target for this season. They want to win races and they want to be able to build themselves up for next season as well. But certainly O'Gorman's done a really good job here in the opening lap. But keep an eye out for Martinez. Last year's ETC winner, the number 28 there with the pink helmet. He's just gradually easing his way through that group. And again, like I said, he's not going to have to mind too much about it.
We've just seen a replay there. That was the jump start of Rouchet Moodley. 21, centre of screen.
Yeah, and it's an easy shout to be able to spot that one, and Moodley's going to have a double long lap penalty for that, but he's actually looked pretty competitive in this race as well, so it's a big shame for him that he's not going to be able to take advantage of a good qualifying position on the 4th row of the grid, and fair enough, he's jumped the start, but his pace has been consistent in this race.
We are seeing that Esteban is through into 2nd. All riders out wide. That was Garnes and Boggio. That's wide at turn 6. Not quite sure what happened then. It looked like they might have just tangled. But either way, that's cost him a lot of time. Just seeing anyway that Esteban through into 2nd ahead of Uriarte, and 4th place now in this race, 3rd in that kind of 2nd group-ish, the yellow and black of Pini, who's now looking on the inside of Uriarte. Knows he's got to make the move, but he's got to make it clean. Plenty of people watching on here for the Hawkers European Talent Cup title decider, but 67, Casey O'Gorman has really hit a purple patch of form. He is looking really good at the front.
Yeah, coming into the season, Casey was a rider a lot of people expected a lot of. He's actually been able to live up to the billing in the last 3 or 4 rounds. You're in the Red Bull Rookies Cup, he's been very competitive as well, so that's always good indication of where the riders are at. Just looking at it right now, Guido Pini just getting bullied a little bit, but he's consistently finding a way to just try and make sure he's able to stay with Joel Esteban.
Yeah, he's looking good so far. Esteban and Uriarte doing battle ahead of him will at least give Pini a little bit of comfort from the fact that Esteban doesn't look like he's got this pace to clear off, which we were seeing. Ooh, O'Gorman out wide there, and so Salmela in the background.
Yeah, quite a few riders just running out onto the green paint there, and that's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. As it is right now, none of the leading riders have been given a track limits warning, so most of them just with that one infringement up to this point.
So far, so good for the leading riders. O'Gorman from Uriarte, from Esteban and Pini. That's third and fourth at the moment. Ha, it's level on points. Can you believe it? If you put the flag out now, it would be level for the championship lead. It would go and count back to Esteban as Uriarte makes his move through. 2 wins for Uriarte this year. He has been very, very fast when he has had his day. O'Gorman sweeping straight back through that. O'Gorman's very, very comfortable at the front. I'll just give you a quick run through of the top 6. O'Gorman, Uriarte, Pini, Esteban, Martinez and Rios. The number 45, Jesus Rios there in 6th. 7th and just a bit detached, Rico Salmela and Johnny Gardes. A fine ride so far, up in 8th place.
Yeah, Guido Pini there on the 93, just trying almost a half wheel on Uriarte. For Pini on the 93, he knows that he can't afford to make a mistake, so he's not going to put his bike in a position that could lead to an incident with another rider unless it's with Joel Esteban, his championship rival.
Pini, of course, if he's ahead of Esteban, has got this title done. It is as simple as that. If the 93 finishes ahead of the 78, that is the title.
I love the fact that you say it's as simple as that. It is the European Talent Cup. All these bikes out there, absolutely identical, so you can lose a lot of positions very quickly just by a little bit of a loss of momentum or the slipstream at the wrong time. And speaking of that, there's the slipstream at the wrong time. Joel Esteban now up into 2nd. Pini's going to try and answer back into T2 potentially.
Rouchet Moodley out wide in the background, number 21 with the yellow helmet, as Martinez looks now to try and get in the fight. He is, of course, the 2021 champion, but he's got no mathematical chance of keeping that crown going into next year.
You have to say, Moodley just willing to double down on the penalties as well. He's obviously got his jump start, 2 long lap penalties. He's ran out wide through turn 1 a couple of times as well. Just looking at Carter Thompson as well, you can see the number 50 there, the AGR rider. Thompson, he's been pretty impressive at times in the past, especially in the Asia Talent Cup, and he's a rider that's been earmarked for success by the likes of Damo Cudlin in the past as well. So Cudlin's been able to be an advisor to him, and certainly he thinks that Carter's got a lot of talent to be able to come through.
Yeah, Carter looking very, very good at the moment. He was one of the riders actually to keep an eye on looking down the grid. He was looking very, very good across Friday and Saturday here, but for whatever reason, just not with that lead group. As Pini makes that move again up at turn 10, Moodley serves one of his 2 long lap penalties.
Yeah, for Carter, he did get a back of the grid penalty. That's why he was pushed down the order for the start of this race, but he's been able to make a good recovery since then.
The team watching on then for Rouchet Moodley. He's got another penalty to go. He's going to be out of this battle for the lead, one would imagine, barring miracles, as Martinez moves through on Esteban, and now Esteban has got he's got a bike between him and the rider that he needs to beat, so not ideal from Esteban, but of course 12 laps still to go as they cross the line, make that 11.
Yeah, we're at 1/3 distance, just seeing as well that Moodley has been given a track limits warning as well, so we know he's obviously got 2 long laps for the jump start, and now he's been put on mark as well by the race stewards. That's Joel Esteban running out wide there as well in the 78. That's the 2nd time that we've seen him run out wide as well, so very early in the race to have a couple of marks against your name.
Wonder if nerves are just creeping in. This is obviously for the title, and for these riders, they are so young, it is probably the first opportunity they get at a major title in their career, so there's a lot on the line here. Out front, O'Gorman and Uriarte knocking spots off each other in front of Pini at the moment. They're not in this title race, they are going for wins and wins only. Yeah,
and certainly at the front for O'Gorman, he's shown that all he wants to do is lead this race. He wants to stay at the front. Uriarte, though, he had his first podium in ETC here a year ago. He's been able to pick up a couple of race wins this season as well. He's a rider always competitive whenever he's got a good bike underneath him to get to the front, but consistency's been a bit of an issue for him over the course of the last couple of years. But when the bike's working well, he's always on form.
We're looking at Pini in 3rd place. So far, the championship leader, put the flag out now, the champion, and that's Jesus Rios now. The 45 has got ahead of the 78 of Joel Esteban, so Joel Esteban going a little bit backwards, back to 6th now.
Yeah, that happened whenever we saw Esteban run out wide at turn 1, so Rios on the 45, he's being competitive. You can see there from Martinez down the inside, and certainly for Pini on the 93, he's not going to be leaning in on someone like last year's ETC winner.
No, Max Martinez has got a reputation for getting his elbows out and really leaving nothing on the table, so I think Pini will cede that position for his own benefit, but now he is 4th and 5th with Esteban behind him. Alex De Angelis watching on. De Angelis looking to see if Pini, who he supported obviously, can deliver the goods for Italy. He's in 4th at the moment, Pini. That's good enough with Esteban in 6th, and actually if you even swap them around, oh, that's close through there at turn 4. If you swap them around though, Esteban 4th and Pini 6th, it will go on countback the way of Esteban. Esteban, we remind you, oh, we got a crash in the background. Don't know who that was. It could have been, I might have been David Gonzalez. I'm going to take a guess at that. It may have been a bit further down, maybe Alcina, but we'll get to that shortly. But we had a crash in the background at turn 4. It was none of your lead runners.
It was Dodo Boggio.
It was Boggio.
Boggio, who had just set the fastest lap of the race a couple of laps ago as well. So for well, Boggio's fallen down our timing screen as well. You thought it might have been Gonzalez. Maybe they were involved.
It was Boggio.
That is Boggio.
It was Boggio.
Just walking away there with the yellow helmet.
So Dodo Boggio, last race of this season. Jobbo Boggio, I think we can go there for the final time, and that's that one out the way. But Dodo Boggio, a crasher, then the number 47 out, but at least he's up and okay. We just saw in the back a shot, I presume turn 4 will be a front end as Max Martinez makes his move for 2nd place. The Uriarte's going to have to run down the straight though, gets the job done. 4th for Jesus Rios, 5th and 6th. You couldn't make out, they're tied together, they're joined at the hip. Pini and Esteban. Yeah,
it's a shame there for Boggio, though. It has been a strong season from 2 wins, 4 podiums, but he's probably going to move on to a Junior GP bike next season, and that's when we'll really be able to see what he's able to do. Just looking at the back of this lead group, you can see the number 11, that's David Gonzalez, who just ran out wide. It does look like at this stage that Johnny Garnett, he's just holding up that 2nd group, but he's doing a good job to consistently keep himself at the front of that 2nd group. As it is, you've got 7 bikes out in the front. This works well for the likes of Esteban and Pini because you're able to really focus on the riders in the group now, as opposed to having half the field together like you can easily have an ETC.
Exactly, and they're at that point of the group where there's only one rider behind the pairing of them. So we've got a long lap penalty.
That's Rouchet Moodley.
That's Rouchet Moodley again, this time for track limits.
So for Moodley, it's gone from bad to worse, but that's a shame for him to end his season like that.
Esteban going through, I think, on Pini there. It looked like Pini was a little bit wide. Maybe the move had already been done. But these are the two that are on the title, with the title on the line. And Pini, with half race distance coming into view, knows that he wants to be ahead of Esteban just in case that red flag possibility, which there always is in motorcycle racing, at 2/3.
Yeah, and certainly for all these riders, they know what they're trying to scrap it out for. It's podiums, race wins, or the title, and certainly with Guido Pini there on the 93, he's just making sure that he's staying as safe as possible away from a lot of the other riders, but he knows that all he has to do is beat his rival, and that's the number 78 machine. So good riding up to this point from Pini on the 93, but it's still going to go all the way down to the wire. We're only at half distance now.
Bit of a gap at the top. Oh, it's Esteban, as I interrupt myself. Esteban goes through at turn 1 on Rios and Pini, but a gap at the front just starting to form. I think the 2 fastest riders on this track of O'Gorman and Martinez. Martinez now briefly in the lead. O'Gorman's going to have that back at turn 3, one would imagine. Yes, 67 comes through on the 28. But them two just breaking away. They are the fastest riders on this track right now. The question is whether Uriarte can go with them.
Uriarte can go with them. What's different between the likes of Esteban and Pini is that for Esteban, he's able to pick off a couple of riders at once on the run into turn 1, but he's making good safe moves, just making them in towards turn 1. As it is for Guido Pini, he's having to try and make the moves in a couple of different spots. We've seen him into the last corner on a few occasions. but we've also seen Joel Esteban ran out wide again on this lap. So that's at least 3 times we've seen that. That's definitely going to be something that's going to be worth keeping an eye on.
3 times in the Grand Prix class of MotoGP. I'm sure it's a warning, 5 times a penalty. So if we've seen it 3 times, believe us when we say Race Direction have also seen it 3 times. But at the front, Casey O'Gorman doing a very solid job here. The Irishman living in Kent at the moment. Number 67 with a win last time out at Aragon, starting from that career first pole position. And with 8 laps to go, he's looking very, very good at the front. But Max Martinez, reigning champion, looking to try and capitalise. As through on the inside goes Guido Pini. Looked like he got it a little bit wrong though, a little bit wide. And through has back, no he hasn't. Jesus Rios has not come back through. So 5th place now for Pini. 4th place for Esteban. That is good enough for the title now.
Esteban has been given a warning for track limits. That's his pit board just letting him know as well. So he now knows that he can't really afford to step out of line again, and we've still got a third of the race to go.
Yeah, and I just wonder with Pini, he's seen a lot of Esteban in front of him. I wonder if Pini's seen that. I'm obviously not going to have that in mind just in case, but Pini will be aware if Esteban's running out off the track, I'm sure. Esteban with the fastest lap of the race, 41.5. Not quite on the pole position times, but it's not far off. A quarter of a second slower than O'Gorman's pole time. But Pini, Pini got that done there at turn 6. So Pini moving through, and that again changes everything. Esteban now not in the title position.
You can see though for Pini on the 93, he's making the moves like that only on Esteban. He's not being aggressive with any other rider, only with Joel. So he's doing what he can to make sure he's able to hit the front of that championship battle. But as it is still a long way to go in this race, the Aspar team there looking on. Their man is Joel Esteban, and he's just lost another spot.
Yeah, that's Jesus Rios who's come through. So Esteban, as a look behind him, sees it's Salmela and only the Finnish rider. So Esteban knows that there is not a big group. I say not a big group in comparison to what we've seen at other points this year. Of course, if you're new to JuniorGP and you haven't seen any racing, go and check it out. It's all available on YouTube, full races throughout the course of this season. We have got 6 laps to go when they cross the line. O'Gorman still leading ahead of Martinez, Uriarte, Pini, Rios, Esteban and Salmela. The Finnish rider there in 7th. 50 in 8th place is Carter Thompson. Then it's Gonzalez and Pau Alsina in 10th. Just got done actually by Johnny Garnett. So battles all the way down. Salmela out wide. That'll be track limits for him. Max Martinez back to 3rd. Uriarte into 2nd, but no one able at the minute to consistently stay ahead of O'Gorman. It's a bit like what happened earlier in JuniorGP with Colin Vire leading. No one, big move there for Rios, but no one able to really consistently stay ahead of the race leader.
Yeah, and for O'Gorman, he wants to be at the front of the field. He doesn't want to drop down the positions. He's always trying to maintain that. But if you stay at the front, it's very difficult in the final couple of laps, just because all these bikes are low horsepower and all identical, so it's all about the slipstream. So do you really want to be leading in those final couple of laps? As it is though, when you're out in front in this kind of position at this stage of the race, you're also able to stay out of trouble, because you can see now it's starting to get a little bit more handbagsy in the scrap between the other riders. And certainly with Guido Pini, we saw that he got mugged a little bit earlier in the lap. He's been able to get himself through on Rios again, and certainly for the other riders outside the championship battle, they know that for Joel Esteban and Guido Pini, they're going to be racing with one eye on each other, and the other just on making sure that they're able to avoid getting themselves into any issues.
Just out of this group and at the foot of the top 10, Johnny Garnett has been given a track along that penalty. I didn't even see the track limits warning. Oh, wow, Pini having a look. Tried to get that job done on Uriarte, but Johnny Garnett, unfortunately for the Brits joining us and watching, he has got along that penalty for track limits. I didn't see the warning come up though, so but either way he's still got it. Max Martinez looking to try and get through on O'Gorman and does so. That's the first time really at turn 1. Again, they go wide though. Whoa, not as wide as Jesus Rios though at turn 1. That's the first time really anyone's made that move look like half sticking on O'Gorman, but O'Gorman just gets such a good line and good drive out of turn 1 into turn 2 that he stays ahead, and then from here on in he looks very comfortable, very good through the middle section of this circuit.
Yeah, and O'Gorman through turn 1 able just to take that low line once again to get the drive and make sure he's able to get back in front on the run in towards turn 2. Good clever riding from O'Gorman. He's obviously got his tactics very much in mind at this stage.
I remind you, the title battle is well and truly alive. 3 points between 93 Guido Pini in 4th place and the rider behind him in 5th place, Joel Esteban. At the moment, the title goes the way of the number 93, but if they swapped positions and Pini lost another one, it would be title to Esteban. It's so fine at the front of this field. It's a lead group of 7 with 4 and a bit laps to go. Not a lot of time left in this season. This is the last race of this season for this class, and really, it is very, very tight. This has been one of the best classes of racing right the way through the year. We started at Estoril with Joel Esteban's domination. It was wins by over 10 seconds back then as Martinez looks on the inside, gets the job done on Uriarte. That's at the final corner, turn 14. Martinez up into second now. Will they be able to slipstream? Casey O'Gorman, half a second, blankets this lead group so far. It's a lead group of 7, 14-wheeler. Martinez moving through onto the inside of O'Gorman. Uriarte wants to take the pair of them and does so, and Esteban moves through into 4th place on Guido Pini. Pini's turning it tight though, he's alongside him into turn 2. No move made. Oh, Esteban almost hit the back of O'Gorman and he was drifting it in. No one can watch on in the Aspar Junior team without intakes of breath at the minute. It's very, very tight out there, but Uriarte's hit the front and I don't want to say pulled the pin, but he's got a gap, at least the biggest one we've seen with a different rider at the head of this field.
Yeah, he's pulled the Pini as well, because Pini, our championship leader, he's trying to go with the top 3 as well. As it is right now, there's 7 riders in this league group. It's actually really a 3-bike battle for the win, then the 2 riders for the championship, and then you got the likes of Rios and Salmela just at the back of this group, just trying to hold on really. Rios has been given a track limits warning. We saw him have that big run wide through turn 1 last time around, so he's a little bit one hand behind his back right now, a little bit like the 78 of Joel Esteban as well. He's in a similar situation with a track limits warning. Front of the field, though, this is the first time we've seen O'Gorman have to really battle it out as well. So race winner last time out in Aragon, is he going to be able to go back to back? It's going to be a challenge for him. We know Max Martinez is always very strong at the end of races, but we also know that if Uriarte's got one track that's had really good results in the past where he's very strong, it's here in Valencia.
This is the track where Uriarte always performs. As Pini and Esteban side by side into last corner, we are going to have 3 laps to go, and believe me, this is going to be titanic. Pini and Esteban for the title is the main battle. Martinez and O'Gorman for 3rd overall is also a battle. That's why those 2 are getting their gloves off. Esteban through from 5th up to 3rd. Pini follows suit. He has to do that. As it stands now, title goes to Aspar. It goes to Esteban. Esteban, if he is 3rd and Pini is 4th, it's level on points. Pini's having a portion of that though, right back through at turn 2. But if it is level on points come the end of this, it goes to count back, and Esteban, with his 3 wins at the start of the season, that gets him the title. Back through at turn 4. Pini will look to respond as soon as he can. Turn 5, not an option.
Yeah, Esteban on the 78 needs to get a bike between himself and Pini. He doesn't want to be in a position to be attacked by Pini. You can see Uriarte, he's trying to play that role as being the spoiler in there.
Pini just about holding on to 4th. He ran the wide line and carried the corner speed through. The 93 in 4th. Needs to get ahead of Esteban at this point, and the 2 riders ahead of him, Martinez and O'Gorman, are in their own separate battle for race win and 3rd overall in this title fight. So if they think the 2 ahead of them aren't going to interfere, they've got another thing coming, because they absolutely will.
Yeah, 11 points between Casey O'Gorman trying to chase down Max Martinez in the championship standings. So this is just a scrap for the race win between them. They're not thinking about 3rd in the championship. Both those riders have been too competitive this season to really be riding with one eye on that. They just want to make sure they're able to beat each other. And
of course, O'Gorman and Martinez in good form of late will have thought, oh, as Uriarte moves through, good move there at Uriarte at turn 14 on Pini, but Maximo Martinez and Case O'Gorman, good form of late. They want to finish this season on a high.
Yeah, and look at Pini now in the 93, just trying to make sure he's able to get through on Uriarte. But Joel Esteban hasn't been close enough to try and attack the riders for the race lead right now. He's in that position now, 3rd position right now, 2 laps to go. He's going to try and make some moves to be able to make sure he can win this from the front.
Uriarte through on the inside of Pini, but he's run it a little bit wide. Esteban very tight to the back of Martinez in 2nd place. He's so tight, he's going through, he's moving through up into turn 4. Good move by Esteban. That is a real title winning move, potentially.
Yeah, Pini's going the wrong way, and the reason for that is Uriarte came through on him at turn 2 and very nearly ran all the way through him as well. So certainly for Guido Pini right now in the 93, he's going backwards, and the reason for that is the other riders getting a lot more scrappy out there with him.
I think Pini was just touching the green there as well, but he's getting his elbows out. Esteban wants to take this title with a win, and he's moving through on O'Gorman, but O'Gorman will absolutely not want to be having that. He wants to make it back-to-back wins as we rejoin the battle at the front. Esteban is leading ahead of O'Gorman, ahead of Martinez. Pini now knows that he has got to start making positions. Wrong place, though, on the front straight for Esteban. He is going to be punching a big hole in the air for his rivals to come back through.
Yeah, it's now or never for Pini, and that's why he's made that move on the run in towards the slow right-hander. As it is, third position is the ideal spot for him. You can see trying to run all the way around the outside.
This is how close this Pini is looking on the inside. It's not the last lap yet. Lads, through on the inside goes Pini for second, but as it stands, Esteban would still have the title.
O'Gorman's in the right spot here in the 67 for the slipstream of the run down in towards turn 1, and turn 2 is going to be a critical chance for him as well.
Last lap of this season, the Velcro is sounding, the gloves are coming off. Pini on the outside, 93 versus 78. He's going to leave his braking very, very late. Esteban moves through. Pini cuts underneath them as O'Gorman hits the lead. Do they go on the green? Not this time. O'Gorman's leading. Pini is second. Esteban is third, with Martinez sideways on up his inside in turn 2. Will Esteban be able to get back? He's trying to square it off Martinez, though. So far, so good if you're Pini.
Esteban's in the right spot, though, because he's now got down the inside there, Max Martinez, but he's able to keep his eye on his championship rival on that last corner on the run down in towards the left-hander turn 13.
And he's got the space to build up all the way through the middle section of this track. He's not going to have riders in front of him tripping over each other. He has got that couple of tenths of a second he needs.
I have to say, Guido Pini, though, on the 93, very impressive to get himself into that P2 now. He's been in the wars all the way through this race, but when push comes to shove, he's been able to get to the front. If Joel Esteban wants to win this, he's going to have the second half of his lap of his life, because he's given up too much ground to Pini right now.
And Martinez isn't going to want to sit in fourth for this. He'll want to be on the podium. Pini having a look at the rear end of O'Gorman, but he's compromised his corner speed. Right, we are into the final sector now. Who's it going to be?
It's going to be Joel Esteban on the run into the last corner. He's going to have an opportunity if he's close enough, and he's going to have to just make that move.
This is going to be tight here down into the final turn. Will Esteban make the lunge of all lunges into the final corner? Will he leave it to a run to the line? He's going round a long way. I don't think that's going to work. Will he get a run? He's on the curb. Guido Pini is going to take second, and with that second, he is going to take the Hawkers European Talent Cup title. Guido Pini is your new champion in the class. The number 93 is number 1 again. Casey O'Gorman does take a second victory from his first pole position, but Guido Pini has overhauled Joel Esteban. Esteban just shy by 0.3 of a second, completes the podium, but takes home the second place in the title trophy.
Yeah, Esteban absolutely devastated with that, but Guido Pini, you have to say, fair play to him. Whenever he needed to get to the front, he was making the moves. Very impressive stuff. And he also took that tight line in the run into the last corner. Good racecraft to be able to hold on to the position.
Very smart indeed. The great emotions down there. Alex De Angelis will be down there as well, for sure, supporting Pini. A fine ride. The 2022 Hawkers has got someone in the gravel sunbathing, I think, down there. 2022 Hawkers ETC champion Guido Pini. A fine season, only one win, but stellar levels of consistency. He came into this round as championship leader for the first time. As the first time all year. And he's held on to it. 78 Joel Esteban. It'll have to be another day for him. Unlucky indeed. He missed a round earlier in the season due to an illness, but thankfully he's been able to bounce back and be just as cool, calm and collected as he was at the start. But this man, planting his name in history and rising to the top of the championship tree. Well, that looks like a Christmas tree. I can't believe I'm seeing them. Oh, in fact, I can, because it's Halloween. I can't believe I'm seeing them in October. But Guido Pini started this year with a 4th. He was then 3rd in race 2, 3rd in race 3, race 1 of Valencia. First, 2nd place of the year, which is his best result for so long here in race 2. He was 5th in Catalonia. He was 7th and 9th at Jerez, a real low point of his season. Bounced back with 5th at Portimao, and a first win last time out, coupled with a 2nd place in race 2 and a 2nd place in the ETC race here today has delivered Pini the title. The obligatory gold helmet gets put on. They have managed to get the vest and the t-shirts on now. So all good. They're just trying to get the helmet strap on. It's like me when I go go-karting. I can never seem to find the correct position to put the strap. But this is what his season looked like. These are Guido Pini's title-winning highlights. "14 years of age and already with a title to his name. A bright future ahead of Guido Pini, who has shown that consistency is key. Of all the laps of 2022, I think this is going to be his longest. And at the other end of the scale, absolute dejection down in Parc Ferme. A very, very upset and, well, I want to say heartbroken by the looks of it, Joel Esteban. It will all be about how he bounces back from this. He isn't going to want to think about that now, but very hard luck for Esteban. We said about Pini's results. Let's go through Esteban's 3 wins at the start of the year. Crashed out in Valencia race 2. Second in Barcelona, missed Jerez through illness. Second at Portimao. 5th and 3rd at Aragon last time out. And 3rd again. So it's such a shame. This is how it was all done. Pini with extremely smart riding on the inside, hugging the inside line, forcing Esteban to go the long way round. Esteban from there is never going to pick up a slipstream big enough to get him by before the line. O'Gorman, his win perhaps overshadowed. Thankfully, he got his first win last time out. Oh dear, look at the faces on Nico Terral. It won't be a title this year in the Junior Aspa team, but it will in the AC Racing team for Italian Guido Pini. And look at that for a shot of contrasting emotions. That is every picture quite literally telling a story. Pini then still coming round to his Parc Ferme, where of course we will talk to Casey O'Gorman, the race winner, and also Guido Pini. We will talk to the champion. He will get his first thoughts very, very soon as he arrives to pit lane. And listen to the noise down there. Great scenes, fantastic stuff from Guido Pini. And he is lifted up and he is hailed as the new 2022 ETC champion. He has been one of the most consistent riders this class has seen. And really, it's been quite special to see his rise to form. But fantastic from the 14-year-old Italian. Incredible. Another Italian then on the road to MotoGP with a title already. So fantastic stuff from Pini. We'll just go through the rest of the order because we obviously focusing on the top 3 in the title battle. O'Gorman, Pini and Esteban on top. That's your podium in the final race of this season. Maximo Martinez, Jesus Rios, Brian Uriarte, Ricky Salmela, Carter Thompson, David Gonzalez and Pau Alsina. Johnny Garnes did finish in 11th, I think that is, and did serve his long lap penalty. So good points on his final race of the year ahead of Lorenz, Tony Luciano, Marco Garcia, Giulio Pugliese and Emmanuel Brinton. So fantastic stuff. We've got the race winner though with Steve English. It's Irishman Casey O'Gorman.
Casey O'Gorman, 2 wins in a row to finish off the ETC season, but talk us through this race. Stayed at the front all the way through.
Yeah, I knew I was strong, and then the first few laps I tried to break away. I couldn't do it, but then they started before I could like stay in front into turn 1, but then they started to double slipstream me and get me into turn 1. So then on the second last lap I dropped back to 3rd because I knew I could get a double slipstream and lead into the first corner, and I knew if I could lead into the first corner I was strong everywhere else. And then in the last corner I broke as late as I possibly could, and I managed to hold it to the line.
Great job, Casey, well done.
Thank you.
Great job from Casey O'Gorman. That's his second consecutive win. And really, the form guy going into 2023, the number 67, a massive future ahead of him. I remember when I was back in Fab Racing, doing the stuff there, doing the commentary there, he was always the rider to beat. He's always been considered one of the best. We are going to hear from the new world champion. It is Guido Pini. We're going to get there very, very soon as they just sort it out. This is Guido Pini, your new champion. Fantastic stuff.
Guido Pini, it must mean a lot to be the 2022 ETC winner.
I don't know. I feel very, very good. The race was incredible. Thanks all my team for this championship. I don't know my family, all my sponsor, and nothing. Thank you.
And in Italian?
Incredibile, la gara è stata veramente molto bella, è stato difficile e per questo devo ringraziare tantissimo il mio team e tutti gli sponsor, tutta la mia famiglia e quelli che mi stanno guardando da casa. Grazie.
Well done, Guido.
Photo opportunities for Guido Pini. He is number one. Let's see how he did it. It was Casey O'Gorman going from that first pole position of the season and of his career, who led down towards turn one, briefly beaten by Uriarte, but he soon got back into the lead. Guillaume Plonk went off at the first, in turn two on the first lap. Thankfully he was okay, nothing but broken pride. O'Gorman tried to stretch the field out in that early stages, but that lead group of 7 just wouldn't leave him alone. The title battle between the 78 of Joel Esteban and the 90 of Pini was intense, and at that point Esteban had the title in his name. Because of the tightness of it in the championship standings overall, it really was changing as the race went on. Esteban, a track limits warning for the Spaniard. Guido Pini, no such trouble. O'Gorman and Martinez were the ones leading the way. Jesus Rios, the 45 on the blue bike, was making all kinds of lunges. This was one of them on title contender Pini, whilst 27 Rico Salmela was just keeping a watching brief at the back of the field. O'Gorman was leading ahead of Martinez. Martinez didn't know when he was beaten, and although he is the outgoing title winner, he wanted to go out in style with a victory. Although O'Gorman would always bite back. In the closing stages, Esteban versus Pini became the topic on track, this time for position as well as title standings overall. And Esteban forcing his way through from 4th to 1st. And in the closing stages, it looked like that was how it was going to end. Pini followed him through into 2nd place, but it was O'Gorman who was back in the lead of the race. Across the line, Pini took 2nd ahead of Esteban, enough to give the Italian a first title chance. Emotions raw, both on track in celebration and in Parc Ferme on arrival. It's been a campaign to remember for the AC Racing team, Guido Pini. And now time for the race podium ceremony. A fantastic event as always in Valencia with another champion crowned. Steve English is back with me now in the comms box, and a very happy Guido Pini there with title number 1 of a career that looks like it will flourish.
Yeah, really impressive stuff from Guido, and he did what he had to do on that last lap. It was very impressive to come through like that, and you have to say it's been a really good season all the way through, very consistent.
As you can see, Joel Esteban 3rd place in the race. That's disconsolate from him as he makes his way onto the podium. Contrasting emotions, as we've already touched on, for Guido Pini. He's 2nd in the race and 1st in the title race. And Casey O'Gorman is on the top step for a 2nd race in succession. Michael Laverty on the podium. Michael Laverty, the oldest person, the oldest rider on that podium. Of course, we can't say that too loud.
Yeah, Emlav asking me down in Parc Ferme as well, why wasn't there a native interview for Casey in Irish? And it's obviously been a very impressive run of form for Emlav and his team, with Johnny Garness all the way through the British Talent Cup season, and now 2 wins in a row to cap off an ETC season.
Ferminal de Guerre presenting some of the trophies here. That's the 3rd place Joel Esteban. I think that's about as happy as he's going to be for the next 24 hours. He looks very, very annoyed and a little bit disheartened, I think. On the other hand, it is the title, but it's a second place trophy for Guido Pini. Another one to his name. I make that his 5th of the season. He's only had 1 win, but that stellar consistency that we've touched on, always in the top 10. Fantastic stuff. But the biggest cheer goes to Casey O'Gorman. Fantastic stuff. The Irishman on top. I can tell you up here in the commentary box, I got a very emotional Steve English alongside me. How did it feel to hear that lovely little tune there?
I've waited 7 years to commentate an Irish winner. I'm going to enjoy the national anthem playing out. And Casey rode really well all the way through. Speaking to him down after the interview, he said that the goal was just to make sure that he was able to stay at the front of the field. He knew in that last lap there was going to be the opportunity to use the toe on the run down in towards turn 1. Really impressive performance by him. Bit of a shame that he's going to have to stay around for another year in ETC before being able to move on to a junior GP bike full time. But he's been impressive this year. Obviously, Red Bull Rookies Cup still to come to finish off his season in Valencia next week as well.
Doing a shoey as well up there with the likes of Jack Miller and Daniel Ricciardo over in the four-wheeled world of Formula 1. And it didn't look like it tasted so nice. Funny that, after you put a drink in a sweaty boot that's been around 17 laps of the Ricardo Tormo circuit here in Valencia. That's your final podium of the season. O'Gorman in the middle, flanked by the new champion Guido Pini, and the rider who some would have tipped for the title after 3 dominant wins at the start of the season. Joel Esteban, just not this year for the number 78 Spaniard. But for Pini, absolutely. The final results: O'Gorman, Pini, Esteban Martinez and Jesus Rios. Ireland from Italy and 3 Spaniards behind. You can make that 4. Brian Uriarte is in 6th, ahead of Finland's Rico Salmela. Carter Thompson for Australia in 8th. Davi Gonzalez 9th for Spain again. Whilst in 10th place, it is Pau Alsina, the Spaniard. Johnny Garness of Great Britain in 11th as he looks to make the switch full-time to this class. Domination in the 2022 Honda British Talent Cup. Emmanuel Brinton as well for the UK with a final point for his season. Ruche Moody, the South African from Port Elizabeth, will be looking to take pride from his final race despite 3 long lap penalties. He did have good pace right the way through. Dodo Boggio, one of the big riders, not on the final scoring card in 2022. He crashed out at turn 4. Thankfully, he was all okay. There it is, in black and white. Guido Pini, your new champion in the Hawkers European Talent Cup by 7 points overall ahead of Joel Esteban. Casey O'Gorman of Ireland for Michael Laverty's Vision Track Racing team in 3rd. Max Martinez, last year's champion, settles for 4th. Brian Uriarte, 2 race wins help him to 5th ahead of Dodo Boggio. Big names all the way through. Jesus Rios' final race sees him complete the top 10. 2022, a year to remember for him. Ruche Moodley just behind him. Brinton, top Brit there in 12th place. We're going all the way through the order. Hamad Al Sahouti wasn't here this weekend, but the Qatari rider has shown flashes of brilliance throughout 2021. He'll be back hopefully next year to do it all over again. Johnny Garness, in just the 3 races he's competed in, there in 20th place with 20 points. Stunning stuff from him. We close 2022's Hawkers European Talent Cup with a new champion and a new name emerging from yet another pool of talent in the FIM Junior GP paddock. His name's Guido Pini, 93 and number 1, the 14-year-old with a fantastic future ahead of him. What will the next chapter hold in the Italian's career?